I've got another high-level Spelltable game lined up for you today. I'm playing Melira, Slogurk Outcast again, and I'm up against Roon of the Hidden Realm, Tana and Jeska, and Slogurk, the Overslime. As always, I'm not running cards that have only been printed in Commander Precon, Commander Legends, Universes Beyond, reprints of set cards and promos, masters, and set boosters, cards that mention the command zone, and uncards. Now let's get this party started! Player 1 plays an island before passing turn. I play a forest, then cast an Arbor Elf. Player 3 plays a Rejuvenating Springs. Tapped? Player 4 plays a forest, then passes. Player 1 plays a Memorial to Genius tapped, then passes turn. I tap a forest to float a green before tapping my Arbor Elf to untap it, tapping it again to cast Multani's Acolyte, drawing a card. It wasn't a land, so I moved to discard, pitching a Jadelight Ranger. Player 3 plays a forest, then passes. Player 4 plays a Groupbound Crag, then casts Sylvan Library. Player 1 plays a Cryptic Caves, then passes turn. During my upkeep, I don't pay the echo cost for my Multani's Acolyte, sacrificing it. I play a forest as my land for turn, then cast a Survival of the Fittest. I tap my Arbor Elf to untap a forest, then cast a Sylvan Safekeeper. Player 3 plays an island, then passes. Player 4 doesn't get greedy and puts 2 cards back from the Sylvan Library. He plays Command Tower, then casts an Arcane Signet, passing afterwards. Player 1 plays a Flooded Strand, sacrificing it to find an island, then casts a Gifts Ungiven. The game screeches to a halt as we inform him that Gifts is banned in Commander. The consensus is that he shuffles his gift pile back into his library and draw a card to replace gifts, and with no spells to cast, he passes turn. I start my turn by activating Survival of the Fittest, discarding Solemn Simulacrum to put Tangled Florahedron into my hand. I play it as a land, Tangled Veil, and cast a Boreal Druid, passing afterwards. Player 3 plays a forest, then follows it up with a Beast Whisperer. Player 4 continues to not be greedy, putting another 2 back with a Sylvan Library. He plays a forest for turn, then casts one of his commanders, Tana the Bloodsower, passing afterwards. Player 1 plays a Breeding Pool untapped, taking 2, then casts a Growth Spiral. He plays a forest thanks to Growth Spiral, then casts commander, Slogurk the Overslime. I cast an Ashaya, Soul of the Wild, then pass turn. Player 3 is also missing land drops, casting a Guardian Project before ending his turn. Player 4 is done being conservative, and finally takes an extra card from Sylvan Library, losing 4. He plays a forest, then casts Grand Warlord Rada. He moves to combat, sending Rada at player 3, making a green mana with Rada's attack trigger. With no blocks, he moves to second main, tapping out to cast Beast Within, targeting my Survival of the Fittest. It's destroyed, I get a Beast token, and he passes turn. Player 1 starts with an Urban Evolution, drawing 3 and getting a chance for an extra land drop. He plays a Misty Rainforest, sacrificing itself to search up a forest and putting a counter on Slogurk. Next he plays Life from the Loam to return 2 lands from his graveyard to hand, then moves to end step, discarding down to hand size and pitching those same 2 lands he returned, putting 2 more counters on Slogurk. I start my turn by casting my general, Melira, Slogurk Outcast. Next, I cast a Natural Order, sacrificing my new Beast token as part of the cost and searching up a Woodfall Primus to the battlefield. With its ETB trigger, I destroy player 3's Guardian Project. I notify the table that since Ashaya makes all of my non-token creatures forests, they're lands that can be sacrificed to my Sylvan Safekeeper, and demonstrate this by sacrificing my Woodfall Primus to Sylvan Safekeeper to give Melira Shroud until end of turn, dying and returning with no counters to destroy player 4's Sylvan Library. With a loop demonstrated, I proceed to destroy all of my opponent's non-creature permanents, and that's more than enough to get a scoop,